All right, so you're out there, right? You're grabbing the last of those amazing summer tomatoes. But hold on, there's something else happening in your garden. There's this silent powerhouse, your compost heap. And right now, it's either getting ready for an amazing next year or it's completely stalled out. So let's do a quick health check.
I absolutely love this quote from Graeme Farrer. It totally flips the script on how we think about gardening, right? You don't feed the plants, you feed the soil, and the soil feeds the plants. It's such a huge mindset shift. The idea is stop worrying about feeding your plants directly. Your real job is to build this amazing living world in your soil. Because when you get that right, the soil does all the work for you. So following that logic, your compost heap, it's not a garbage pile, no way. Think of it as the engine room for your entire garden. Seriously, this is where you are literally making the high-octane fuel that's going to power everything next year. But, and this is a big but, what happens when that engine just shuts down? And after a long, hot, dry summer, that's exactly what can happen. It just quietly stalls out, and you might not even notice. It's a super common problem, and it can totally sabotage everything you're planning for next year.
Yeah, we're going to call this dead heap syndrome. It's the villain of our story today. It's what happens when that living, breathing world in your compost just gives up. And you know what the crazy part is? The thing that causes it is, well, it's surprisingly simple.
Okay, just look at this. It really says it all. On the left, you've got a living heap. You've got your greens, your browns, and that absolutely critical ingredient, water. And on the right, a dead heap. You know, we're all so good at throwing in kitchen scraps and old cardboard, but if we forget the water, it's exactly like trying to run that engine with no oil. The whole thing just grinds to a halt.
And this is what you're left with. A bone-dry pile isn't making that beautiful, rich black gold that we're all after. All those tiny little workers in your engine room, you know, the bacteria, the fungi, they've either gone to sleep or they've just died off completely. What you have isn't compost. It's just a pile of preserved, mummified garden waste.
Okay, but here's the good news. Reviving that engine is actually super simple. We're going to walk through the Resilient Gardens 1-2-3 action plan to get it fired right back up. All right, first things first, we've got to diagnose the problem with the squeeze test. And yep, it's exactly what it sounds like. You're going to have to get your hands a little dirty for this one. Just dig right into the center of your heap, grab a big ol' handful of the stuff, and give it a really good firm squeeze. So what are we looking for? The perfect consistency is like a wrung-out sponge, okay? So if you squeeze it and nothing comes out, it's bone dry. Your little microbe workers can't do their job. If water's just streaming out of your fist, well, it's way too wet and you're gonna have a stinky, slimy mess. But if you get just a few little drops, bingo, you've hit the absolute sweet spot. Okay, now for a couple of quick wins to really get things moving. Think of these as power-ups. First up is the deep turn. Grab a garden fork and just mix it all up. Get those dry outer bits into the moist center. This is so important because it gets fresh oxygen in there for all the good guy bacteria. They need to breathe. Second, the nitrogen boost. Once you've added some water, throw on a layer of fresh grass clippings. That shot of nitrogen will kickstart the whole heating process and just supercharge the breakdown. All right, this is where things get really, really cool. Did you know you can use certain plants to literally supercharge your compost? I mean, think of them as natural biological activators. Let's meet 3 of these climate heroes, and you might even have them growing in your yard right now.
First on our list, comfrey. This plant is an absolute powerhouse. It has this incredible deep taproot that's like a drill, just mining for minerals way down in the subsoil. We're talking potassium, nitrogen, all the good stuff. So when you chop up those leaves and toss them in the heap, it's like adding a shot of concentrated all-natural fertilizer that just fuels the whole process.
Okay, next up, the humble and maybe not so loved stinging nettle. I know your first instinct is to rip it out, but wait, it is a fantastic compost activator. It's loaded with iron and nitrogen, and its structure actually helps the whole pile hold on to moisture. It creates the perfect little habitat for all those beneficial bacteria to thrive. And hero number 3 is borage. Now, the magic of borage is all in its stems. They're super succulent and just full of water. So when you add them to the pile, they break down really fast. And as they do, they release all that moisture into the dry stuff around them. How cool is that? It's like a brilliant built-in slow-release watering system for your compost. So why are we doing all this? What's the big payoff here? Well, the 10 minutes you spend on your compost heap this weekend, it's not just another chore on the list. Think of it as a down payment, a direct investment in the health and really the resilience of your entire garden for next year.
Look, here's the bottom line. A living, breathing, active compost heap is the single best insurance policy you can have against a crazy, unpredictable climate. When you create that rich organic matter, you're building a soil sponge. It's a sponge that will hold on to water when it's dry and drain properly when you get too much rain. It's a win-win.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. This isn't just about next year. The benefits you get from amazing soil, they compound. They build on each other year after year. Graeme Farrer even says your 2027 garden will thank you for the work you do today. So the real question is, what are you going to do this weekend to get that engine fired up?